The views and opinions expressed on this channel are solely those of the host and guest and are intended for entertainment and discussion purposes only. This channel does not promote bias, hatred, or discrimination of any kind. All questions posed and thoughts shared are part of a critical thinking exercise and are not meant to offend or judge any individual or group. We encourage respectful dialogue and love for all. Please remember to think critically and engage thoughtfully. We aim to foster a positive and inclusive community where everyone feels welcome. Thank you for being a part of Risky Behavior ENT.
Risky behavior. Risky behavior.
Oh, kata. We are live. What is up? Welcome back. All right. As y'all know, Nolan Wells, death investigation continues day after day after day after day after day. And I'm scratching my head wondering, am I the only one because everybody keeps saying, "Oh, we got an update." I'm like, what the fuck is the update? Everybody's listening, crowding around mics, pretending like they're hearing answers, and I'm like, am I the only one that's not getting it? It's like I'm not getting the answer. So, anywho, today I'm be playing some of the video for I'm gonna be playing all of the press conference so that I can catch up because I think maybe perhaps I missed something, but I haven't got any I haven't gotten any real answers at all. It's almost like people not even looking for them. Everybody keeps saying, "Oh, I got an update." You do? Also share. Boom. Anywho. What's new in Nolan Wells' death investigation? Here are key things to know so far in August. Ooh. It's been more than a month since a search crew found the body of 18-year-old Nolan Wells near Horn Island, about 10 miles off the Mississippi coast, where he celebrated the crowded 4th of July with friends. No answers about what led to his tragic death have emerged since, because they was like, once again, they did update. Autopsy comes, not much answers. No answers about what led to his tragic death have emerged since. The district attorney overseeing an investigation into Wells' death said last month that all evidence in the case will remain sealed until it is presented to a grand jury, which will decide whether the evidence supports criminal charges. Local authorities said early in the investigation that they had uncovered no signs of foul play. They haven't. Matter of fact, I think the only arrest so far surrounding this Nolan Wells situation is those people getting arrested for threatening the family members. The case drew national attention and ignited some questions about the history of racism in Mississippi, as photos spread across social media that showed Wells, who was black, with several friends who are white, Ben Crump, a national civil rights attorney who is representing Wells' family, is independently investigating the teenager's death. Attorneys visit Horn Island. Okay, attorneys for three teenagers who celebrated the 4th of July with Wells traveled to Horn Island on Friday, according to the Biloxi Sun Herald and CNN. The attorneys, Tyler Cox and Edward Paltzik, I don't know how to say his name. They're the two attorneys that was on Nancy's Grace show recently, the video that people have been, reacting to lately. Said they went there to understand the island's layout. They also said they intended to crack down on anyone who believes who they my bad. They also say they intend to crack down on anyone they believe has defamed the teenagers from Ocean Springs, Mississippi, in connection with Wells' death. So yeah, the teenagers. Well, I guess that is something new that has come out recently. That there's apparently a bunch of people that they're planning on suing them. I don't know how true that is. People always threaten, "I'm gonna sue. I'm gonna sue." Usually, nothing comes of it. Um, we'll see. I would think Ben Crump would be their number one target, and some of these other big YouTube channels. Starting today, this is a quote. Starting today, those who wish to continue trafficking in lies about these good Ocean Springs young men will be held accountable to the maximum extent of the law, the attorney said in a statement to the Sun Herald. We, on the other hand, will be focused solely on the truth, which is that these innocent young men had nothing whatsoever to do with the tragic death of Nolan Wells. And that's another thing. Yeah, a lot of silly people saying, why would these boys get lawyers? It's very clear, at least public opinion, and Ben Crump. Um, I don't care what side you're on in the Nolan Wells case. I think any intelligent person would get their child a lawyer in a situation like this, especially one like this that it has blown up. You have to think about your children's future. If it's you, you got to think about your future. You want to have somebody that knows the law on your side telling you how to move and what to do. Next part of this says anonymous complaint dismissed. So Crump said Thursday that the Mississippi Board of Nursing had closed an anonymous professional misconduct complaint filed against Wells' mother, who works at a local health system. Crump called the complaint frivolous and unfounded. I saw Nolan Wells' mom on an interview speaking about how this case has affected her work. This is a quote from Crump. It says, "It was an attempt to distract the grieving mother and intimidate her into silence, filed by someone." My God, spam call. Huh. It was an attempt to distract the grieving mother and intimidate her into silence, filed by someone who would not put their name on it, Crump said in a statement. That effort failed. Wells' family has condemned the complaint and said they remain focused on finding answers about what led to his death and advocating for a fair and transparent investigation. Now, three accused of making threats. Now, in separate cases, federal authorities have accused three people of making violent threats in southern Mississippi as law enforcement agencies investigate Wells' death. The threats have targeted a local judge, the George County Chancellor Clerk's office, the Jackson County Sheriff's Office, and a witness in an ongoing state investigation in southern Mississippi, according to court records. A federal judge in Southern District of Mississippi last week ordered that one defendant, Edward James Porter, remain jailed after a federal judge in the Northern District of Illinois granted Porter bail. The other two defendants have also been arrested, according to court documents and jail records. The three defendants are from Sacramento, Cincinnati, and Berwyn, Illinois. All righty then. What am I going to go to next? I guess I go watch the press conference. Uh all right.
Us know something. And the question we're pondering is, what happened to Nolan Wells? On Friday, July 3rd, the 18-year-old who would have turned 19 just a little under a week from today made dinner for his family that evening, and he spent the night with friends. On Saturday, July 4th, just before 10 a.m., Nolan set out for Horn Island. Now, Horn Island is a barrier island about 10 miles off the coast of Mississippi. It's a popular hangout spot, big with boaters. About an hour and 20 minutes later, the boat with Nolan and his friends arrived at Horn Island. The Jackson County Sheriff's Office says that Nolan was seen there around 3 that afternoon. At 5:44 that evening, records show that the boat that carried Nolan to Horn Island made it back to the mainland. Again, that was 5:44. We're talking just over 2 hours. Now, his family reported him missing around 11 that night, and this was after one of his traveling companions called the family, alerting his mother. By Sunday, Nolan's family is, of course, understandably frantic. They're retracing his steps, they're posting online, as we often have to do with missing Black children. What happened to Nolan Wells? Well, by Monday, July 6th, the news that Nolan's family feared the most, the remains of Nolan Wells had been recovered on the shore of Horn Island. What happened to this boy? And ABJ, I want to bring to the stage 2 people who want answers to that question more than anyone. His mother and father, Christine Wells Wansley and Elmore Wansley, joins the stage now. And they are joined by civil rights attorney Ben Crump and Reverend Al Sharpton.
I want to say something. I don't want to be petty because then they'll get mad and say, "Oh, you a sellout." I don't. Ugh. Never mind. Oh,
I know you all have.
my bad.
I know you've been on the. Thank you all for being here. I know you've been on a whirlwind. I know you've been traveling a lot. So thank you all. And I know you all have other challenges happening around the country that you'll be getting to after this. But I am so, we are all so honored to meet you. And we are so saddened that we are connecting with you under these circumstances. You know, I want to tell you, they asked me to call them Christine and Elmore. I want to say Mr. and Mrs. Wansley, but Christine and Elmore. I want to tell you in the audience in this room, but also watching at home, are thousands of Black journalists. But in addition to being Black journalists, these are mothers and fathers, siblings, cousins, aunts, and uncles of Black children. And we see your humanity. And we're going to center that in this conversation. There you go.
Yeah.
I told Christine if we cry on this stage, it's okay, because we're among family.
Amen.
So you take your time. Christine, I'm going to start with you. On Friday, July 3rd, Nolan made you dinner. And so as you're telling us about the last time you saw your baby boy, I want you to talk to us about who Nolan was and tell us about that day.
So Nolan is and was an incredible, just incredible soul. He was the person who, no matter where you were in life, what was going on, he was going to be your biggest cheerleader. And I can attest to that because after COVID, my sister was like, oh, you should do social media. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to do social media. I like to just watch others. And then Nolan was like, no, Mom, You should do it. I'll help you with the videos. I got you. And, just anytime I was like, oh, I just really don't want to do this anymore, Nolan was like, no, mama, you hadn't posted today. And I'm like, I don't want to post. I'm tired.
Yeah.
But, that's the kind of person he was. He was God-fearing, God-loving. That boy had faith beyond measure. He was just a bright light. And he was our bright light. As far as that day goes, went to work, and he was making salmon. So he was FaceTiming me as I'm trying to see patients kind of in between, of course, not answering the phone in the room. And he's like, hey, mama, how does this look? Is this enough seasoning? Like, what am I supposed to do with this? And I was like, okay. I was like, you don't have to do that. And he's like, no, I'm going to take care of it. I was like, okay, sure. And so he finishes cooking, get home. He's like, yeah, what you know about this? And he was, guys, when I tell you, he loved to joke. Like, he was just one of those people. He wanted everyone around him to smile, be happy, feel comfortable and accepted. And that is the kind of person God made him. Us as parents, we definitely had that influence, but Nolan was just naturally a peacemaker.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, after that, it was, 8, and then he got ready to go. He did his normal, hugged us up. I love you, Mom. I was like, be safe, knowing this was going to be his last weekend before going back to school, because football was starting, the summer training was starting. And this was his second year at Southwest. And so we knew this was going to be a big year for him. Dad and him had been training and doing all these things, and really just kind of sitting with him and letting him know, like, hey, we're going to the next stage in your life as well as, your football career. So the focus was there, and he was ready.
So he leaves that day.
He leaves that day with, he drives his car, and he told us kind of a general, like, hey, we're going to go to the island. Like, we knew that, staying at Jack's house. And Jack's was a friend I think we've met in passing before. And that's the thing, I always say there's a difference in meeting someone, knowing of someone, and then knowing someone. Knowing implies that we've sat down, we've had discussions about your hopes, your dreams, knowing you, okay, hey, he stayed the night at my house, which Wyatt, one of his friends, he had stayed at our house a couple of times. And then Jack's, again, that was one I just maybe saw in passing a few times. There was only a handful of young men that we actually knew, like, he grew up with. And when I say grew up, I'm saying from like first grade, they've known each other all through high school now that they're graduated. And that would be like Jalen and Javon, LeBaron. Those are kids that we knew. So it's been hard seeing all this kind of play out.
Yeah.
And, these are people that he considered friends.
Yes. Dad, I want to ask you, because it was Warren Hudson, one of the people that he traveled with, who called to alert you all that Nolan was missing.
Yes.
So we know at 5:44, the boat returns, Nolan is not there. At 11 p.m., he calls to say Nolan is missing. I wonder if either of you, whoever wants to answer, what happened in those few hours that prompted Warren to be concerned?
I'm not quite sure what would prompt him to be concerned, but all I can say is what I did that day. So me and my sister, we made an order of pancit, which is a Filipino noodle dish for one of our friends. They were having a big family get together, and we really didn't have anything planned for the 4th. So me and my sister are, cleaning up, and this is about 8. And she's like, hey, Nolan hasn't texted us. And that was the thing. Nolan was really big with communication with us, right? And so I call him, doesn't answer. I end the call. Call back, and this is probably, I think, maybe around 8. Don't quote me on the times, guys. So then I call again later around 8, still no answer. And then I want to say I called one more time, and I think that was at like 10:48. So I'm in the kitchen, my phone rings. Now this is probably like early 11 o'clock, somewhere around there. Phone rings when I make it back to the phone, and I'm like, whose number is this? Because, you know, we get weird phone calls sometimes. They didn't leave a message. Number pops back up. I pick up the phone because it says maybe Warren. And I'm like, Warren? So this is 11:07. That's per my cell phone records. So I answered the phone. And he's like, hey, Miss Christine, have you seen or talked to Nolan? I said, no. Why? He should be with you guys. And he said, oh, no, well, you know, when we went to the island, there was a girl named Katie that he met, and he had decided to stay behind. And I said, what? Because we know our child. And Nolan isn't one to be like, oh, well, I'm just going to throw caution to the wind, and I'm going to stay here with this girl that I just met. So I'm on the phone with him. Now I'm in a panic. I'm running into my room. Elmore was in bed watching a different movie, and I'm like frantic. He's like, what's going on? I'm like, Nolan is missing. I'm trying to pull up the GPS as I'm talking to him. And at some point he tells me that, I was like, well, you know, his phone says GPS Life 360, not Snapchat.
Right.
Life 360 says that he's on land. And he was like, well, no, I mean, you know, well, we have his phone. And I'm like, wait, what? And I'm like, okay. Because at that point, you're telling me, this is coming from Warren, don't worry about it. We're going to find him. It's going to be okay. Don't tell me not to worry. This is my child, my flesh and blood that I brought into this world. And you're telling me not to worry. Absolutely not. So then it was after the phone call ended, of course, asking him for information. What was he wearing? He was like, last seen, Northwest tip, black shorts, sunglasses. That's important. So I end up calling DMR, spoke with the DMR. She took all
Just
the...
for our audience, DMR.
So DMR is because he went missing on the island. They are basically the marine people, right? They're the ones who's going to launch the boats to go into the water and all that.
Let's see, Mr. John. Troll said she's going into politics. Tony says coming to circus. Troll says it's clearly drowned, get over it. And do you know how much money these payers have made? You know, it's crazy y'all saying that, because I had let me see. I had found like this video. It's this black guy right here, Jason Whitlock Harmony. And he's like, he said Nolan Wells' mom launches political career at Ben Crump's NABJ production. And so I guess he was let me see. And the first comment is like, who didn't see this coming? The more I hear about this woman, the less respect I have for her, and she drained that tank quite a while ago. Right. And so this is this whole conference. I'll just play his intro real quick.
Ben Crump did not bring a case to Atlanta. He brought a production. Al Sharpton rode shotgun. A woman, Lucy Macbeth, took her mark. A Congressional Black Caucus letter went out to the Attorney General and the FBI Director. The National Association of Black Journalists gave them the room. And on that Forbes stage, they ran Mississippi Burning 2.0 like opening night. Dead teenager, Mississippi zip code, Republican villains, standing ovation optional, hard questions forbidden. Lucy Macbeth was not there by accident. She launched a congressional career off the murder of her son, Jordan Davis in 2012. Moms Demand Action, Mothers of the Movement. The 2016 DNC. Then a House seat in 2018. Grief became a resume. Atlanta was not charity, it was a master class.
It's that fire. Grab your Bible.
So yeah, he and he goes in to all of it. And I think I talked about this like last week because I put up a post. I was saying, is Ben Crump a race hustler, a race beta? And I really wanted to talk about the Trey Reed situation because it seemed like when that situation he saw he couldn't go to the next level with it, or I feel like it wouldn't have been profitable. Whether that profit could be to get money, that profit could be to push any agenda that you have at the time. I felt like he abandoned that family, and that family, came back and said, well, hey, Ben Crump had us get an independent autopsy, the same way he did with this Nolan Wells situation. And when that independent autopsy said that Trey Reeves, in fact, took his own life, all communication with that family ended. You know, I was like, oh, that's kind of sad. And with this situation with Nolan Wells, the thing that's bothering me, let's see. Tony said all you got to show is all you got to show is Crump and shriveled up Sharpton. What a joke. Yeah. But ever since this case started, I never understood really what they were suspicious of. You know what I mean? Like I expected the mom to say something like I remember Nolan and this particular friend got into a fight and that friend threatened him outside our house or something. It's just been this empty space. Like I said in the beginning of this video, I've got no answers or no reason why I would suspect somebody did something to him. Everyone that talks about him, they say, well, no one has anything bad to say about him. And when you take a bunch of young people and alcohol, I think it's not hard for me to believe that somebody just drowned instead of it becoming this big blown out racial situation. And I was talking to my friend about this, and my friend said, I bet you, bro, that um after that Carmelo Anthony situation, they're gonna be looking for their next lick. And I think Nolan Wells, boom. And it's their chance to ride that racial gravy train again. And No Ego says Christina Wells has updated the GoFundMe account 3 times. She said the funds were for the funeral, but Tyler Perry paid for the funeral, and the funeral was a month ago. Why is the account still open? I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I don't know much about GoFundMe. I'll have to check that out. But I do know it was publicly known that Tyler Perry did pay for the funeral. But I do find anybody ever been out like anybody in here ever had a drowning experience before? Cause I had an experience like that. I was with family and we was at the beach. We was out in Trinidad. And I mean it was a beautiful day at the beach, man. But I mean those waves were really coming in. And so we're out there, we're in the water. And I remember, you know how sometimes, you know how like when the wave is coming in, you'll jump up and dive in with the wave. And so it's pushing you, right? And it feel like you flying, you know what I mean? And I had a big wave came in, crashed down on me, and it pushed me all the way to the sea floor, and I hit my head, and I was about like out of it. You know how you got that feeling like you like, I think, I snapped out of it, and I remember swimming up, and I was like almost panicking, but staying calm. And I'm trying to get to the top and get some air. But I say that to say this. I was out there with people and nobody noticed. And mind you, there was no alcohol involved in my situation or nothing. I say that to say this. People fail to realize it's very easy to lose someone. It's very easy to be out there playing around, drinking alcohol. None of these are young people. They're not parents. They're not trained to look out for each other or anything. Anybody that was young enough that was in college, they be like, man, where Mike at? I don't know. I thought he was with you. So it's not far fetched for me to think. I can think of a, a million examples before I arrive at these boys was racist and they just dumped his body somewhere. I mean, we don't know what happened, but I'm just saying is a lot of scenarios that played in my head before I got to that. So um let's hear more for the mother.
But before getting off the phone with Warren, he was like, hey, I know some people at Coast Guard. I said, okay. He's like, I'm gonna call Coast Guard, you call DMR. Get on the phone with DMR. I give the young lady the information. And she tells me, hey, I got this. Let me call you back. Because she was like, I'm not sure if this is going to be in our jurisdiction, essentially. So then she calls back and she tells me, okay, yeah, we spoke with Coast Guard. And I'm like, okay, but they're like, this isn't our jurisdiction. You have to contact the city of Ocean Springs. I said, okay, hang up the phone, call an Ocean Springs Police Department. They say, hey, you have to physically come down and give a report. I said, okay. So on our way, because we don't live that far from the police station, on our way there, I was like, well, let me stop by the hospital because there's a hospital that's maybe 5 minutes up the road from our house. Stop by there. I'm like, hey, have you guys seen this kid? Has he been brought in? The lady's like, no, ma'am. We hadn't. I said, okay, thank you. Run out. We go to the police department. Get to the police station. And the officer basically says, again, this is out of our jurisdiction. And at that point, I'm like, my God, who am I supposed to talk to? Who is supposed to help me with this?
And when it comes to the mother and her feelings in this situation, your child is missing, something's happening, you're trying to, because as time goes by, when it comes to saving a lifetime is like you don't have a lot of it. When it comes to saving a life, getting to someone, time is the most important thing. But what she is going through, I believe her when it comes to that, trying to get somebody to help you to get your child. But what I'm saying is, I watch a lot of true crime. And if you watch like Dateline, when they talking about missing persons and stuff like this ain't a black or white thing. We need a better system for when people are missing and family members are trying to get to them. But it ain't a black or white thing. And I think what some people are hinting at, because I don't have 100% of truth to it. So what's that word that everybody throw out? Allegedly. I think the issue is when you have somebody like a Ben Crump come in and they exploit that and they say, oh, well, this happened because you black and Mississippi, and you know the history. And I think that's been exploited. But everything she's saying, I think she has a right to say it and feel it. But I think she will find that there's other mothers, that have experienced that as well. It's not necessarily for racist, racial reasons.
So then he said, it's going to be, you would have to call DMR. I was like, we've already called DMR. DMR said it's not in their jurisdiction. So we end up, I think at some point I had called Jackson County Sheriff's Office. Yeah. So she calls back and she's like, hey, are you there? I said, yes, we're here, but he's telling us the same thing you guys told us, which is no, we can't take it. She gets on the phone with the police officer. Now this is Jackson County Sheriff's Department speaking with the Ocean Springs Police Department. Ocean Springs Police Department is saying, this is why we can't take this information. She says, okay. He gives me the phone back and she's like, okay, I'm just going to take it. I'm just going to take the information. And that was, we met an officer. It was after midnight. Yeah, it was somewhere after midnight. Met him in the McDonald's parking lot, gave him the information. He was just like, okay, thanks. That I was like, where is the urgency? Mm-hmm. And so as far as we know, there were no boats on the water that night. We actually, his high school football coach, Coach Bramlett, texted Elmore that morning. He said, hey man, I got a boat. Because again, we don't have boats. Let me make that very clear. We do not have a boat. We're not boating people. We don't do water like that, okay? So Coach Bramlett's like, hey, I got a boat. So we was like, great, let's go. We're on the water. We go out there. We walk the island. Cell phone works perfectly fine. I actually had almost an entire conversation with my grandmother who was in a panic as we're walking this island looking for anything.
I just want to pause there. The cell phone worked fine because in the reporting, there's been so much reporting that there's poor cell phone reception. And this is some of the disputes that we have about that night. Dad, feel free to jump in here because they're saying
Let me see.
he met this young.
I want to wind it because I want to go with how she went in the island.
As we're walking this island looking with my grandmother, cell phone works perfectly. We're on the water. We go out there. We walk the island. Cell phone works perfectly fine. I actually had almost an entire conversation with my grandmother who was in a panic.
I rewinded, but I didn't hear her say it, how she actually got on the island.
So Coach Bramlett's like, hey, I got a boat. So we was like, great, let's go. We're on the water. We go out there. We walk the island. Cell phone works perfectly fine. I actually had almost an entire conversation with my grandmother who was in a panic as we're walking this island looking for anything.
Let's see. No Ego says, I think the family made a huge mistake in aligning themselves with Crump and Sharpton. They must have known the consequences behind such controversial figures, and how this would present. I agree with you, No Ego. I think honestly though, they're kind of, I think, like I said, I think it's the system is broken when it comes to missing people. I see black mamas, white mothers, Asian mothers, Hispanic mothers, husbands, wives, family members. They all go through this when it comes to this jurisdictions, the system of what it takes. When you're reporting somebody missing, it is insane. I just watched a report, like a documentary on YouTube. White man, wife is missing. He is trying to report his wife missing. This is a white guy. White woman missing. This is why I'm telling you, it's not everything's not always racial. A week or so is going by. He keeps trying to report his wife missing. He drives down there to the police station. They still won't let him make the report. This man had to pretend like, I think like he hurt his wife or did something to his wife or something like that to get them to look for her. They found his wife. She had got into a car accident. Her car ran off the road. She was down in a ditch somewhere. No one could see her. Her husband, who had been in his car looking for her, had actually drove by her all week looking for her. At the angle in which she was, and her car was upside down, he didn't find her. He didn't see her. By the time he finally got them to look for her, she was this close to death. This close. They said if they had not found her, when they found her by the next day, she would have died. So we just need a better system when it comes to finding people and missing people. The reason I was rewinding because I was trying to find out how she got on the island. Some people are saying that when you go to that island, that because it's, I guess at the time when on the 4th it's so crowded, the way people are docking around the island, they're saying some people have to jump out their boat and they swim the rest of the way to the island, not like a long mile away, maybe 20 feet, 30 feet to the island. And so they just take their phone out their pocket and they leave it on the boat. She might have went on a time where the island wasn't crowded. Maybe they was able to get closer, but she didn't really go into details if they had to get on some people are describing going to the island, getting from a bigger boat to a smaller boat, getting closer. Some people are saying they had to jump out of their boats and swim the rest of the way to the island. So I was wondering, was she going to go into detail about that? And it seems like she's not. I don't know if that's on purpose or she just doesn't think it's important to mention.
I just want to pause there. The cell phone worked fine because in the reporting, there's been so much reporting that there's poor cell phone reception. And this is some of the disputes that we have about that night. Dad, feel free to jump in here because they're saying he met this young lady, Katie, and that he stayed back. According to the reporting, Katie is saying no. He said he was going to go with his friends. According to the reporting, the friends say, no, he left us his phone because there was no reception. Dad, have you found any consistencies? Have you spoken directly with any of his friends?
Well, the first inconsistency was you called me and tell me my son stayed on the island to talk to a girl. My son would never do that. That's not in his character. I didn't raise none of my kids to do that. The second.
What is he talking about? Like, that, what do you mean you didn't raise your son to do that? That had nothing to do with how you raise your son. It's the 4th of July, people out there meeting. If your son met a beautiful young lady that he wanted to talk to, he not gonna stay and talk to her because his daddy raised him not to. Like, I don't. It's crazy. It's some things you can say about me. I'm pretty sure my mom would be like, my son wouldn't do that. I know him. Not really.
Thing is, you say he doesn't have his phone. He doesn't leave his phone. I would wake up sometimes in the morning and Nolan would have his phone here right in my face. And I'm waking up cussing and fussing like, boy, you don't get the camera on my face. And he just laughing and giggling and stuff like that. So that's twice. To me, there's 2 lies you told me as a father. Like I said, we went on the island.
That's what I'm saying. Male parents always say my kid wouldn't do that and get proved wrong all the time. I'm telling you, that's why when I'm saying like, okay, so you think your son, a young man, out there drinking, which ain't nothing wrong with drinking. So that's not to demonize him too. Like when people say they're trying to demonize him and say he was drinking. No, what people are saying is if you're out there drinking and water and stuff, and somebody could drown, regardless if they're a great swimmer or not. I had a family member that was a lifeguard and he drowned. So he died from drowning. But yeah, to be like, I ain't raised my son. I don't get that. I ain't raised my son to talk to no girl. Like, what are you talking about? If everybody got a boat and he like, I'm staying and talking to this girl, which I'm not saying it's true or not true. It could be a lie, but I'm just saying to outright just act like it's the most. You would have thought the person said Nolan was selling crack. the way he said that. Talk to a girl. What? I ain't raised him. Like, what? What are you talking about? He's just talking to a girl and saying, hey, man, I catch a ride with these people. People do all the time. When I was young and I was at the club, if I wanted to stay longer, I just catch a ride with somebody else. If everybody, you know what I'm saying? If everybody talk to everybody cool, I just catch a ride with this person. Kids do it all the time. Most of the time, they're okay though. This is just one of those cases where something happened.
And actually, a classmate of mine called me that morning as we were going out to the island with Nolan's coach. He's like 40 miles away. He calls and, hey man, I got the boat. Me and my boys, we're gonna go out there and help you look. I didn't call him. He called me. And we're gonna start on this end. I said, well, we're probably gonna start on the other end. So me, my wife, Coach Bramlett, and a high school classmate of mine were the only, we were the first ones out there looking. Like I said, we docked the boat, got out the boat, walked on.
Mel, that might be why though. Mel. He said they all worried about who bought the alcohol for them. Yeah, that's something that crossed my mind, but I don't know. I guess some of those, they're still young adults. Perhaps some of them that were like 21, 22, older brother, older sister, some probably bought, for most of them. I would hope it wouldn't have been like no adults supplying them with alcohol. Because the way this case is going, somebody would be in big trouble.
On the island. She had a whole conversation with her grandmother on the island. Got back on the boat, went back around the island. I guess that would be the north side, facing the Gulf of Mexico. I get another phone call. So my phone worked fine. So this whole thing about not having phone service, I don't know. I don't know if it's the carrier or what, but ours worked fine. I think those around maybe 8 o'clock.
Yeah, because we finished up around.
Who was it? Jackson County or
Jackson County Sheriff
finally showed up.
Yeah,
a couple of boats. They finally showed up. By that time, I was like, he's not out here. I was more focused that he was at someone's house.
that was the
So that's where my hopes and feelings were. So we left. The county stayed out there. My friend, he stayed out there because he called. He's like, well, we're gonna stay out here a little bit longer. I said, okay, I appreciate it. So we leave. Then I would say maybe a couple hours later, my friend calls me back. He said, well, we're gonna give it a go, but he said, look, I can gas the boat back up, and if you want to go back out there, we can go back out there. I said, I don't want to go back out to the island. I have a feeling that he's not there, and I don't want to go back to the island. So he said, he said, well, if you do, we can go right now. I said, don't worry about it. I appreciate you coming out there. But he said at that time that helicopters were out there, more Coast Guard, more people were out there. So you go back.
What up? Man, I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. I be forgetting to say, like, hit the like button.
Go back, get back on land, and as far as the keys, was it that night? Or was it
that was that night.
That was the night the call. Okay, let me back up. As far as getting the car back, after we gave our report to Jackson County, the sheriff department that night, we were trying to figure out who to get a report to. We had a friend in the family that located his phone. We wasn't there to get the phone, but apparently there was some kind of friction with getting his phone.
Yeah.
We don't know what the friction was.
So the phone and the key were at the same location, which was Jack's house.
Okay.
And again, all of these kids share their locations on Snapchat. And so she was like, hey, I can go pick his phone up, not thinking that his car is there, you know, which she stopped everything she was doing. Her and the boys, they went out. Like, we were all out searching for him that night. And yeah, like Elmore was saying, there was an issue, some type of friction. The cops ended up coming and they left. And so then kind of the same thing when we came to pick up the key, Elmore went up there asking for the key, didn't know where the key was. And all of a sudden we know where the key is.
But see, hold on. But see, this, and this is another thing that bothered me too. When we got to the house, you know, it was some of his other friends were there, you know, and they were, you know, beating on the door like, "What Nolan there? What Nolan there?" You know, beating on the door trying to get in the house. So I walk up to the door and I'm calming them down because, for one, okay, you're loud. Two, you're in these people's house. So if you tear these people's house up, this could be a whole nother issue. I don't want y'all bothering it. And three, I need you guys to calm down, and I need them to kind of trust me as being an adult so I can get something out of it. So I get them out the house, and then Jax finally comes down the stairs, I guess, in the room. Hair all messed up like he just woke up, whatever. I said, "Look," I said, "I'm Nolan's father. His car's outside. I need to get his car and all his personal effects that may be left over here." And he goes, "Oh man, Nolan was like my brother." I said, "Nolan was like my brother." I said, "Well, if Nolan was like your brother, would you please go and get everything of his so I can get his car, I can go home?" So he walks off. 2 or 3 minutes later, he come back. I don't see the keys. Okay. So I leave out the house. Go back outside, stand by the car. During that time, one of the guys that was in the house, one of the other friends, he was on the phone with a girl who was apparently there with them earlier that day. And she was telling him that his keys was on top of the Xbox in his room. So he goes back up to the door by himself, and we're still out by the car. And lo and behold, here comes the keys. So now, to me, you lied to me 3 times. I don't believe nothing that you tell me on out.
And this is Jax.
This is Jax.
And eventually he does give you the keys.
Yeah, eventually give
But
me
there
the
was
keys.
friction getting the keys.
Yes. So for one, you tell me my son is on left still on the island with a girl. 2, you have his phone. And 3, you don't give me the keys when I ask. I don't know any father who would believe just if one of my friends did that. I'm gonna be cordial with you, but I'm gonna watch you. And I just
Ben, I want to ask you, because I'm hearing these 2 parents who essentially had to become search and rescue or law enforcement, looking for their own child with such a lack of urgency on behalf of law enforcement. Obviously, we're talking to Black journalists. We can't ignore the ugly racial history of Mississippi. I looked into the demographics of the Jackson County Sheriff Department. It's quite asymmetrical, but also just the general attitude and the lack of value when it comes to Black life. Does this sound like a normal process for when an 18-year-old goes missing to you? What holes have you seen in your looking into this case?
Tiffany, that was the question that Christine and Elmore had when they first called us. They wanted the truth of what happened to their 18-year-old son, Nolan Wells. And they had concerns whether they were going to get a fair and impartial investigation. And from that day to this one, it has been the same objective: to have truth, transparency, and find out what happened to Nolan. They said, we want a thorough investigation, because when they found Nolan, they expressed to me that the sheriff had already said no foul play. And they was like, "No, my son, he knows how to swim. Our son is a college athlete. Our son."
He did not answer her question at all. He went into his same spiel where he gets into his emotional list of questions of, we want to know this and They didn't tell us nothing. He didn't answer a question at all. Like I said, I agree with the mom and the dad as far as there's something wrong with the system. But like I said, I that's what a lot of families go through that. And you know what most people have to do? What they did with the coach. Most people they go out and they organize and they have to end up organizing their own searches, and you have organizations in your city, your county, whatever it may be, and they organize those searches and get them things together. But like the system itself to me is broken when it comes to missing people. They need one that's better, to be honest with you. And then like people go missing and they be like, oh, well, they're an adult and we gotta wait this and wait that. And it's just silly. It's just stupid. You have to lie and make up something to get them to hurry up and start looking for a person.
Is in great shape. We don't believe that he just drowned and nobody knows nothing. Nobody saw nothing. I mean, there are about 300, 400 people on the island. And so that's what they were saying. We want to know what happened. We want truth. We want transparency. We don't want his death to be swept under the rug.
Well, just so to make sure the audience and the people watching at home know, so they did declare very quickly, as you're noting, that he drowned when his body was recovered on July 6th. Mom and dad and you all know that he is a student athlete, able to swim. On July 4th on Horn Island, it was very crowded. Certainly the suggestion is someone would have seen a child in distress. There is going to be the convening of a grand jury. Now, the DA of this area, Angel Myers McElrath, is a very out loud, proud Republican. If there is a U.S. attorney appointed to this case, it will likely be a Trump appointee. I'm just curious, Ben, from you and Rev, I think we have to be very candid here. What concerns do you have about the racial animus that we are seeing so much of play in this case?
Well,
you or Rev, whoever.
All I'll say, and then defer to Rev, you want to believe that this is a child, that everybody's going to do their level best to find out what happened so these brokenhearted parents will know what happened to their child. In time, we've seen Christine and the family be attacked just for asking questions. What happened to my child? Trying to say, no, we want to question this part of the investigation, that part of the investigation, because day one you said no foul play, but tell me now, what are you doing to be able to get us to the truth? And that is, it causes them sleepless nights. We talk at night. And so trust, but verify.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Amel, I see what you're saying. And that is correct. I mean, at first glance, they can only go by what they're going by. If they don't find a body shot up or, it's like if it looks like no foul play, they have no choice but to say it doesn't look like foul play. And if everybody, and here's the thing, let's say that they did do something to Nolan Wells. That doesn't make the investigators racist or make the system racist. If you have a group of young men that can get their story straight and sound believable and work that timeline out to where it looks like an actual accidental drowning, that's not them being lazy or anything. You can only go where the evidence takes you. And so I agree with you with that and making a big deal out of this. It's like, for instance, if they come to you and they say, well, look, this looked like a accidental drowning. And then you say, well, hey, wait a minute, I need you to look at that again, because I overheard a conversation with my son and his friend said, boy, I drown you. And then the detective can go, really? Well, let me do another interview with that friend. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, it don't have to be because they're racist or they don't care about him because he's a black kid. It could be because it just honestly looked like an accidental drowning. Let's see. Designed by Jules says Nolan was hit in the back of the head. No doubt. Color don't have anything to do to what happened. I don't know. You think he was hit in the back of the head by somebody, or when he drowned, he could have hit his head and that's why he drowned. But he didn't have no bruising. I don't know if you're talking about on the back of his head. That bruising on the back of his head was invisible from the outside. It was in the tissue under the skin. But that could have been him falling back or something or anything. Yeah. Exactly, Mel. Forensics and subsequent evidence do determine the follow-up investigation. Yeah. And so I think original answers sometimes are just original answers. There's been plenty of times it didn't matter the color of a person's skin. There's been plenty of investigations where something looked accidental and they found out later on. Design says no, he was found face down. Yeah, face down, in the water. So I don't know. I don't know what that means.
We are trying to cooperate everything we can do to say, hey, we want to help, but we want you to give them a thorough investigation. We want you to do for him what you would do for your child.
Rev, I'm going to come to you in a sec, but you brought up something, Ben, about attacks. And certainly as journalists, we have a keen eye, and I have noticed that the narrative around this story has shifted to the threats that are going to the young men who was with Nolan. They've hired attorneys who previously represented Donald Trump in cases.
Yeah, Design. I get what you're saying, but I don't know how long his body was in the water. And do bodies like swish around in the water? Like, say somebody was in the water. I don't know. I don't know how you would find a body. How you like if you fall in the water, knocked out, unconscious or whatever, right? Does that mean your body stay that way? Like, say if you was out in the water for a day or two, it took people a while to find you, and I don't know. You said no. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna do some more research into that. But that's the whole unique thing about forensics and science and everything, man. These people see so many cases. They can kind of tell you what a body will do. Yeah. I think it could have been a drowning. I really do.
They've gone on very MAGA-friendly podcasts, and I just want to make sure that we keep the main thing, the narrative to the victim, to the actual child who died. And I'm curious, Christine, if you can weigh in on what threats have you and your family experienced?
So there have been a big smear campaign, just not only professionally, but personally for me. And
they attacked your nursing license.
Yes. So it started out with 1-star reviews of people saying they saw me. My office verified that these were incorrect. And then it went so much as to someone contacted the Board of Nursing. And then that opened the investigation for the professional misconduct. There was no evidence presented for that claim. And the investigator I spoke with, he said, we have to do our due diligence. I said, I understand it. I respect it. He was like, I'm sorry it's coming at this time. I was like, no, I get it. Do what you have to do, because I know who I am. I know what kind of care I give to my patients. I know the relationship that we have. And I'm grateful that my patients, a lot of them are still trusting and loving in the care that they know they're going to get with me. And so these attacks are not going to, it's not going to break me. I have to find out. We have to find.
And that's one thing that I am totally against and stuff. We got to stop doing that. Like the public, like the same thing happened with the Carmelo Anthony, Austin Metcalf case. I'm seeing similar attitudes when it comes to the Nolan Wells. We got to stop attacking people, man. Let these people have their argument. This case should never be the one that gets people threatening each other because we don't even have no evidence of anything. The fact that I don't care if you threatening Nolan Wells family, if you threatening those other young men and their families, because I believe they've gotten some threats too. 'Cause I saw some videos of people calling them and threatening them, and I'm sure they threatening Nolan Wells family. And some of it maybe people could say is not threats. They don't think people, but it's still harassment if it's not that, and this case, we literally don't know anything. I don't know what anybody would fight about in this case. No one can tell you what happened. I don't know what they would be fighting about. Austin and Carmelo Anthony, I get that because somebody stabbed somebody, but like in this case, don't nobody know what happened. Let's see, design says we all can agree some suspicious activity. Body found 2 days later. How many people on boat? I can't say anything that is suspicious. I think if you take young people and alcohol, I think that's a dangerous mix. To me, it doesn't have to be suspicious. That's just me though. In order for it to be suspicious, I don't know. Somebody will have to come out with something that I don't know that I haven't heard. I think it's crazy because here's my thing. You have your son in this racist land. You have your son with his white friends. His funeral was held at a white church. And I think it's sad, but I will understand white people if they say they don't want any black friends. Because if you die and if something happens to you, all of a sudden you're the racist that killed them. You see what I'm saying? And that's why I think it's dangerous to even assume what happened and start pointing fingers and stuff like that. I just think it's unfair without any evidence. I won't do it, especially as a black person. Who you think when they release people from prison that was falsely accused and convicted? People that look like me. I'd be a hypocrite to accuse people of things that I have no evidence of. I don't know what happened to this boy. Don't know if they did it. And even if they did do it or somebody out there did it, I don't know if it was racist. They could have been fighting over a girl. That's not racist. That's two young men, testosterone, alcohol, got in a fight over a girl. Something bad happened. You see what I'm saying? So we don't know what happened. I don't know why anybody would be fighting with each other over this. See, Mel says, I think there is an amazing level of ignorance as far as the process goes, and some that just look for trouble on both sides. There's absolutely questions to be answered, though. Exactly. I agree with that. Just out of curiosity, is anyone even remotely familiar with the Aiken Liverpool scenario? What's that? Aiken Liverpool scenario. How many white people were at the funeral? They said at least it was like 30%. People that went there said at least like 30% white people is the ratio they use. They said about 30% white people. And I think and the head pastors is white. So let's see. Design say, I'm not saying they racist, more like jealousy. Jealous of you think they was jealous of Nolan? But that's what I'm saying. That's a part of the scenarios that people be saying. They be like, they think maybe they was jealous of him, a jealous situation. Maybe it could have been jealousy. It could have been jealousy over a girl. It didn't have to be racist. Mel said, "Is that the man that fell off the boat during a party?" Oh, you talking about for the Aiken Liverpool scenario. Yeah. What up? Pew, pew, pew. It's my brother, the Prince of Petty.
Welcome to Risky Behavior. ENT.
Let's see, my brother, the Prince. One of my mods says black people make new races every day, especially with cases like this. Said, what up? Dang, I'm late. Oh man, yeah, you ain't too late. I only been on for an hour, man. I was trying to catch up on the things that was going on, but like I said, I do think they make new races with cases like this. Cause if I'm white, I think it would. I'm sorry. It's gonna be a weird thing. This is funny, but it's not funny. You got black parents now that is warning their black children, be careful when you go out with them white people. You know, they right now it's gonna be the same conversation on the opposite side where white parents are gonna be warning their children, be careful going out with that be careful going out with that black kid. Cause you know if something happened to them, they're gonna blame you. They gonna say you did something to them. It's funny, but it's not funny. That's where we're getting and stuff. So, like Prince, you correct. Like, make new races by doing that. The level of which, and see, Design said, let's see what the jury decided. Did the grand jury come back yet? They've been going and talking about it. I got to check back and see. Prince says it's hilarious actually teaching your kids that is wow. Then the white family's doing the same. I'm telling you, man. If you could be a fly on the wall, they are definitely having these conversations now. And so watch this though. Don't that present another problem? Because now you're going to have some black kid that wants to go out on the boat with the other kids that might come back and say, well, those white people are racist because I never got invited to go fishing. But what he don't realize is because of situations like this, it has an effect on people. So you might not get invited anymore because people don't want to be accused should something happen to you. Yep. Oh, what's up, 623? Oh, he talking to 623 is talking to Mel. Yeah. Mel is talking about Design put a question in the I think Mel was asking a question to Designs. Prince says, Billy, be careful hanging with DeMarcus. That why you put DeMarcus? It's DeMarquavius, man. Billy, be careful hanging with DeMarcus. The moment something happened, we public enemy number one. I wouldn't even be mad. Damn it, we on the news now. I told you stop hanging out with him. Watch, I'm telling you, man, that shit gonna happen. Hey, what up, Design? Oh, I appreciate you. I appreciate you, Designs, man. I appreciate y'all being in here, man. Y'all, I appreciate y'all being in here, man. Sometimes, like, if I do certain rooms like this, like when I did the Carmelo Anthony, Austin Metcalf, the chat they was banging, man. They was arguing back and forth, man. It was wild. It's been a great room to a great live today, man. I appreciate y'all being in here. Oh yeah, 623 is about Nolan Wells. Yeah, it's about Nolan Wells. I had to look up that act in Liverpool, but yeah, Design was asking about the act in Liverpool because we was going over different scenarios of like what could have happened with Nolan and stuff. Because I know earlier I said I can think of 1,000 different situations or things that happen when it comes to Nolan. Before I get to these young men were racist. You see what I'm saying? Man, Prince of Petty says King of the Hill. Dang it, Bobby. Now we on the news and you don't even know what happened. That's my show. I love King of the Hill. Oh, 623. You the one that asked about acting. So it wasn't Design. Oh, okay. Our bad. I thought Design. I'm just looking at the chat go up and down. My bad. I didn't even notice that. You know what it is though? 623. You for me, you and Design, like if the chat just the chat moves and I just kind of glance up, you have red in your profile and it's red in Design profile, and I just wasn't paying attention. My bad. Madam says, my damned. What is that? No, it's Madam. Just got here. Is this live with insane low IQ, racist, or reasonable, intellectually honest folk? I can't the idiot I can see any idiocy anymore. No, man, we cool in here, man. We just listening to the Nolan Wells family. I was catching up, listening to Nolan Wells family talk about the situation, what they went through that first day of trying to get when somebody goes missing, they try to get them to get out there and start looking and searching. And they went over having to get with the coach. The coach got a boat, they gassed it up, went out to the island themselves and started searching on their own. Of course, if you looked at the Officer Tatum show, the young man said that they also went and joined in that search. I've already predicted that this is going to be a documentary on YouTube. This definitely is going to be a professional documentary about this. I'm pretty sure it's going to be put together. You have two sides telling similar, but where it really matters, the stories are different. The mother and the father were just talking about what it took for them to get the phone back and the keys back, but the boys on their interviews are saying we didn't keep the phone and keys for them. They got the phone and keys back. So I don't know.
Find out what happened to Nolan. That is the only question we've ever asked. We've never blamed anyone. We've never tried to smear anyone. I know I heard something about the picture. That picture was sent to me because
this is a picture of him on the boat.
With people.
Yes.
And what it was is they were like, the person was like, Miss Christine, the information is incorrect. This is what he was wearing. Because initially he was in black shorts, which again, that is the information I received from Warren verbally and via text. When she sent me that picture, I was like, oh, completely different color. These are like a blue-gray short. So we have to correct that. But I'm grateful. We are grateful to all of you. Thank you for keeping our son's story alive. And thank you so much, Tiffany, for having us.
I think that's part of our assignment here, our responsibility. So often in newsrooms, we have to defend and define Black life and defend and define our own humanity. And so it makes a difference. The same way in other newsrooms, when you see someone and you feel like they're familiar, that so happens as they resegregate newsrooms and lay off Black journalists en masse, that goes away. So the people in this room have a keen interest in this story because they see your humanity, and that's what we center in this conversation.
And I agree, madam. Nobody that they talk to is saying anything bad about Nolan. He seems like just all around just great kid. One of them kids you're like, man, oh man, he got a good head on his shoulder. Prince Petty says my prediction is people going to have egg on their face again, just like with Carmelo Anthony. I agree with that. The people that are pushing the races, you know, the racism and all that stuff. And somebody got mad at me yesterday because I was like, y'all act like black people can't be racist. They can. Okay. People gonna get upset. I said that, but I think those people are gonna have they are gonna have egg on their face.
Put this in historical context for us, because as I look at Mississippi, I don't have to tell you of all people some of the immediate thoughts that surface for us here.
Well, when I got the call from Ben Crump and he had the parents connected and they told me the story, I'd not heard the story. I heard something about some in Mississippi. But when I heard the details, the thing that jarred me from a civil rights point of view, and I've been working, Ben has come National Action Network for 20 some years with a case, and then in from there on and on and on. And if it's not a civil rights position, we don't get involved. When they told me that law enforcement said there is no foul play, that's a prejudgment. And I said, wait a minute. They said, the parents repeated to me in front. I said, they said it was, this 2 days after it happened. And how do you investigate and there's no foul play and you don't even know what happened yet? So that's what perked my interest. So I said that, well, we'll be involved and we'll help to the best of our ability. Talked another day or two. I said, y'all come to New York, we'll have a national press conference. That's how we broke the story. The first national press conference they did at our headquarters, National Action Network. Then all of a sudden, it was all of this attack for getting involved. And so, and they asked me to do the eulogy. I said, we'll take care of the funeral. Tyler Perry called me and said, no, I'll take care of it. So the thing that bothered me, one, it was prejudgment.
Hold on.
Take care of it.
I'm sorry, y'all.
And be involved and we'll help.
Trying to see something.
Law enforcement said there is no, and if it's not a civil rights position, we don't get involved. When they told me that law enforcement said there is no foul play, that's a prejudgment. And I said, wait a minute. They said, the parents repeated to me in front. I said, they said it was this 2 days after it happened. And how do you investigate and there's no foul play and you don't even know what happened yet?
Yeah, that's not a prejudgment. If somebody dies, investigators come out and they look at a body. If they can look at a body and say there doesn't seem to be any foul play, that's not just some prejudgment.
So that's what perked my interest. So I said that, well, we'll be involved and we'll help to the best of our ability. Talked another day or two. I said, y'all come to New York, we'll have a national press conference. That's how we broke the story. The first national press conference they did at our headquarters, National Action Network. Then all of a sudden, it was all of this attack for getting involved.
And if you know, and I pointed that out too, because if you notice, and that's what I be saying, that's the dangerous thing when you have certain people like this and they're talking, they just say things. Anybody who doesn't, you know, look at investigations, study it, or is not in school for it, or actually does it as a job, the way he said that is making you think that somebody they just took Nolan out the water. They ain't looking, they just said, yeah, he did, he drowned, and they just threw him somewhere and just, you see what I'm saying? The way he said it was so like they were cold or something is how he was reporting it. And it gets people riled up to suggest that, like, no, this person was missing. Y'all asked him to find him. They found him. They don't just find the body, make a guess, and throw it. No, they found the body. They looked at it, and they don't see any signs of foul play. What are you talking about? If I'm looking at something, I'm just pointing out what I don't see any signs of foul play. You know what I mean? People died. in their house and they go, I don't see signs of a break-in. What are you talking about? That happens all the time in the he tries to act like this is something they did just because this kid was black. And that's dangerous to talk like that.
And
Yeah, Prince Prayer. I'm mad Al Sharpton even still poking his head in matters like this. Yeah, I don't know. Al Sharpton is, I don't know. That'd take forever going to Al Sharpton, but a lot of people don't like him. We think he's a fraud, to be honest with you.
so, and they asked me to do the eulogy. I said, we'll take care of the funeral. Tyler Perry called me and said, no, I'll take care of it. So the thing that bothered me, one, it was prejudgment. Second, the parents of the guys that were with him start talking about they was going to sue us for getting involved. And sue, I don't even know the kid's name.
No. They didn't say they're going to sue you for getting involved. They said they're going to sue you for not watching your language and how you using suggestive language and how you speaking about their kids. And that's why, like right now, even people are wondering about the phone, right? So this is from a month ago. Ben Crump reveals deleted text messages were found on Nolan Wells' phone and says there are so many inconsistencies in the case. Now, mind you, I pointed out in the interview, in the video we watching right now, this video we watching now, that lady asked Ben Crump, what about the initial investigation and the missing persons process? She asked him a question about the system and what's going on, and asking him for his expertise of how is she asked him, she asked Ben Crump, how is a missing person investigation supposed to go? Ben Crump didn't have an answer for that. Mind you, he's accusing the Mississippi system of being racist and not doing what they're supposed to do, and saying that people's rights are being stepped all on and disrespected. But when asked the question about how is the process supposed to go, which this would be the time to say, hey, this is how a missing person investigation is supposed to go. This is what they are obligated to do. Give examples of how they did this for other people. But when it came to Nolan Wells, a young black man who went missing, where they failed him at, he never says it, and he won't say it. He gives the same spiel. We just want to know what happened, because how could it be that he's missing? They out on the boat, and all we asking for is transparency in this investigation. And they get mad and they call me a race baiter. Now we just want to know, we want an investigation. We want you to do for Nolan Wells' mother what you would want to do for your own child. He never answers or gives anything. But remember, he'll deny and say, well, he didn't say something. But you have articles that come out and says, well, Ben Crump reveals deleted text messages were found on Nolan Wells' phone. Well, how would he know that if they didn't? Did they have somebody there at the time that could tell if did a professional say that? Their first thing was coming out saying deleted text messages found on Nolan's phone. Well, if you say that, hey, we don't believe Nolan drowned and he was out with these friends, you put up this picture as if Nolan went out to an island with only 4 people, but he was out there with a whole bunch of other people. And then you say, well, who had the phone? His friends had the phone. And then you say, well, it was deleted messages. People ain't dumb. They gonna put 2 and 2 together. That is what you trying to say. And if I'm the parents of those kids, hell no, I ain't gonna let you just say that. Especially if I think my kid is innocent, I'm not gonna let you say that. So then we get to the, now mind you, this is back from July. Nolan Wells' phone to undergo mutual inspection after deleted content concerns, attorney reveals. But we haven't gotten any more information about when it comes to that phone.
So you can't say I defame your son. I don't know your son's name. But I will say this on this stage. I want them to sue me first. I'll tell you why. No, I'll tell you why. And National Action Network, you serve the papers. Because I want to depose your son. If you sue, the plaintiffs are deposed. So rather than us depend on a Mississippi DA who already had people saying it was no foul, let's go to civil court, any kind of court you want to go to, because you can't make this make sense. And direct to your point, Tiffany, as I said in the eulogy that I did, I don't know what happened. The parents never said they knew what happened. They never said it was racial. I don't know it was racist, but they don't know it wasn't racist. You don't know what happened. So why are you prejudging it unless something is there you don't want out? Second thing is, you know, and I said this to Elmer and Kristen, I had hurt my knee. I had torn my meniscus.
I don't think they're really going to sue Al Sharpton. I don't think they're able to. Like, let's be honest, Al Sharpton and Ben Crump, they professionals at what they do. They're not going to ever outright say what they're saying, but they use certain language, and you know. But for Fan to pretend like he hasn't pushed it being racial, he knows that is a lie. But he's a slickster. Like you know what I mean. But I don't think they was. But he is correct though, that man. That if they have anything to hide, suing him would be the dumbest thing in the world. That's where all the secrets come out at. You know, so like you say, he would depose him. So if they had something to hide, that would be a dumb move anyway, to try to sue Al Sharpton or Ben Crump. That would have to be something that comes after case closed, you know, getting charges or whatever dismissed with prejudice to make sure it can never come back to bite you. So
That's good. And when I taught, I told Ben the truth. I did it working out one morning, but I told them I got it because I was on my knees praying too much. But anyway, when they took me to say they may have to do surgery, the first thing they said is, well, we got to get your medical history from your primary doctor. I said, okay. So I said in the eulogy that I don't know what happened, but I got your history in Mississippi. And the history tells me black boy go out with 3 white kids come back. There's a blurred story on what happened. Now y'all all hostile and all upset. Didn't have the keys, but then you had the keys. Some about this don't make sense given your history. And I'm gonna stay on this until we find out what happened. It may be nothing, but we're not gonna leave that up to chance with people that are distorted. We gonna stay on this case. And lastly, since they want to talk about lawsuits, one of the things tying your morning together, Tiffany, they may come back, as you suggested, playing right-wing politics with this, with the local prosecutor, maybe even with the federal people. But if we have a change in January, and there is a Democratic House, I said that if Hakeem becomes the speaker, he needs to have the chair of judiciary subpoena them to the Judiciary Department, testify. No, that's what this vote means. We need to have a check and balance of government so that we got somewhere to go. We can't depend to go to Trump's Justice Department. So we need to really mobilize so people like these 2 parents can protect their children.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you laid out such a great example on how the tentacles of white supremacy cast such a dark shadow over almost every aspect of what your parents went through. I know that there's so many more questions that I have, and I'm sure the audience has. As all my broadcasters know, I have an IFB, and they've been telling me to rap for about 10 minutes. We wanted. It was my pleasure to go over time, and not only my pleasure, my responsibility to give you all a platform to share your story. I think it's so important, and I think this is the responsibility that the Black journalists in this room take very seriously and will carry with them back to their newsrooms where they may be the only, or back to their platforms where they are building reach or have a wide reach. So I thank you all for sharing your time and being so open. There will be a press conference. There was an autopsy, a second autopsy that Ben Crump initiated that I believe Colin Kaepernick helped to fund. There were questions around that. And so please, I encourage credentialed media to please go to the press conference and the access for credentialed media.
Colin Kaepernick got an organization, I think, that's funding all of this. But once again, that's the same way they funded Colin Kaepernick funded the Trey Reed thing. And the family was saying that they couldn't get in touch with none of them people when they were trying to get that second autopsy. Of course, the second autopsy confirmed that what the police said was correct, that he, in fact, unalived himself. So, it's interesting to hear Colin Kaepernick's name again when it comes to paying for independent, second independent autopsies. We'll see how this one goes.
Will be on the NABJ app for more information. So I don't want you all to think I didn't have more questions, but I passed the baton to you all to go ask all the additional questions. And I just want to thank all of you all sincerely for being here. And I want to thank you.
I can't even, I could not be a person that do interviews. Prince, I know damn well your ass couldn't. Cause you be like, you'll be stopping them in the middle of their answers. Like, come on, bro. Oh man. Let's see. Prince said Kaepernick is another one. All this race fame for coming off the bench. He took a knee, brother. He took a knee. He took a knee. But I ain't lying, man. With that Trey Reed, Nancy Grace is be cracking me up. This lady. I don't know if I can even play her stuff.
Good evening. I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories. I want to thank you for being with us. Good evening. More important, where is Nolan's phone? Possibly even more important, where is Nolan's phone? Possibly even more important, where is Nolan's phone? Good evening. I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories.
I wonder what is really going on with this whole phone mess, because it goes to the mom and the dad saying like, oh, we can't get his phone from his friends. They're hiding it. Even though I think they got it that night. So that's not too much hiding on the phone, right? And now we're at the point where it's like, now they're looking for the phone again. Now the parents are holding the phone hostage, I guess. I don't know. They could have, they could have given it to the sheriff. I don't know. Prince, I say too much raunchy to do an interview. He said Nancy looks some bad, straight ghastly. I think she's hilarious because of her voice. I think that's what it is. I don't know if she leans right or left or any of that, to be honest with you. I don't know. I know Tatum was on this.
I want to thank you for being with us.
All right.
Sent out while Nolan was at Horn Island, which she found very odd. I have no reason to disbelieve her. So how can you say there were missing or there weren't missing?
Let's see. Oh yeah, they got the phone, but I'm like, people want them to turn it into the police invest for the investigation so they can do a forensics on the phone to see if in fact something is missing. Um Johnny says it's her accent. You know what it is, the accent. I think that's what it is. But she has the perfect voice for like news media and stuff like. I think she has a great unique voice for that. Maybe not the most perfect voice, but definitely a voice that I think gives her edge in the work that she does.
I don't think you can say it either way. Why don't they just get a search warrant and go get the phone? You know what? Forget all that. Officer Tatum.
In order for them to get a search warrant to get the phone, they have to think something is wrong. They can't just get a search warrant. They would have to think that they would have to find some evidence that this is not an accidental drowning, that they feel something else happened, that somebody actually did something to him. Then they can have a reason to get a warrant to take the phone against the mother and father's wishes. Let's see. Prince says, Ben, no, if that phone goes to the authorities, nothing will be found. He's trying to keep this show going. That's why I think it is. I think he's just dragging it out. I'm being honest with you. That's the only thing this could be. Because I showed that other article where a month ago they said they were going to sit down and do a mutual search on the phone. That means you have the police forensics specialist plus an independent specialist, and they sit down. We understand that in investigations, they probably wouldn't let the mom and dad be in there, but they could have their own private investigator, a lawyer, somebody sit in on their behalf to make sure that the phone is searched through. Because they don't trust they're saying they don't trust the investigation. Let's see. Johnny said it's unique in her southern lingo. Yeah, I like listening to I watch her show from time to time. Yep. But yeah, they need a warrant for it.
Where is Nolan's phone? Do authorities have it?
Where is Nolan?
Well, from my understanding, authorities do not have it, and the family have not been cooperating with authorities to give the phone over. According to the testimony or written statement from the lawyer that represents the family, the Nolan Wells family, he had made mention that he's prepared to cooperate, but they have not cooperated yet, which is very interesting to me. You want to find out what happened to your son. You would think you will be doing everything you can to cooperate. I can't judge her. I don't know what's in their mind, but it just seems to be very off-putting for them not to at least give the phone over and do what exactly they told the world they were going to do, and that is to allow a forensic extraction of his phone. Therefore, the world can see if there is things that have been deleted. I think Tyler Cox is very clear about what he's saying, that the boys had nothing to do with it. So if there is anything missing from the phone, it had nothing to do with them. Now, I'll add this. When you look at what Christine said.
That lady's an asshole. Johnny says, I think the mom is scared if she gives the phone something miraculous is going to happen. And then Prince says something like your kid was out there acting a plum fool, allegedly. I think they were just drinking. I don't know why people are skipping that fact. It's like they're afraid to say it. And I think that if there's any, like people talk about the boys, how they kind of act a little weird. I think that's what it is. I think they was all out there partying. For sure. You got young boys on boats with the alcohol. They in that they in their college years. It was some twerking and some. Come on, we know what was going on. But these are kids with futures, and I think all the parents are trying to hide that instead of just being honest and us getting some real answers. I think all the parents are doing that, even the boys. I think their parents are too. I think I think they're all acting weird. To me, that's why when people they keep coming up with these, we got to update. Update on what? We still don't know shit. Nobody know what happened. Facts. Your kid was out there drinking and carrying on. Let's see that autopsy. And you know they got videos. So I can't agree with Nolan's family on that to pretend it's like nobody had their phone. Nobody recorded nothing. I don't believe that. Everybody went in the water. Them being underage on the boat that their parents own would put them in the spotlight. Oh, you're right, Johnny. Yeah, because all of them wouldn't have been over 21, and then you got them out there in the boat. That might have been the reason too. When you think about what's that CETO call, remember, this is honestly why I think the parents have had something to hide versus the children have something to hide. And I don't know if anybody else has said this, so I might be like one of the only people that have seen it, thought about this. On the CETO call, when the boy was trying to call and get help, wasn't it one of the parents, his father or something, said, no, you don't need them. Like, we can figure this out on their own. I think what's being hidden is underage children. And Johnny, I'm glad you said that. I think it's underage children operating their parents' boats is really what's being hidden. And I think that's why they're being coached on, what to be, what to say and what to do. I think it's their parents that got something to hide. Man, Chris talking about, I think Bart surprised Nolan in the water, got behind him with the military chokehold and submerged him and broke his neck. Man, they would see something on his neck during the autopsy. Chris saying that's why no one heard anything. You know what, Chris? I ain't even mad at that theory because none of us know what happened anyway. We got to get some theories out here because the news keep doing update after update. They won't even give us a theory or a story. Yeah. See, Prince said, I'm an adult and go nowhere without my phone. Them teens had their phones. Chris said they didn't give him the neck. Oh, yeah, you're right. They did. The throat. It wasn't the whole neck. If somebody break a neck, when you see that at least still in the spine, I thought they just took like the front part. And see, Johnny says that's why the grandpa called to kind of give the illusion he was on the boat. Because if the USCG come out there and see minors running a boat without adults, we'll be serious. So that honestly, if that's the case, I hope that they will kind of come out and be honest about those things because you don't make yourself look like a murderer or make yourself look guilty to hide the fact, that y'all were on alcohol. And I think that's really what they're trying to work out. I think that's why they got lawyers and stuff like that. Not only because it seems like people are accusing them of a crime, but I think they have those lawyers for many different reasons. Oh man. Nancy Grace. I don't think she said nothing else too crazy in this interview, but I know like, oh, they looking for the phone. I don't know if this one. I probably watched this short one because I've been on this for like an hour and 48 minutes so far.
And they say had a knife, and there's the tape of him being shot. 3 cops surrounding him, shot and killed, 4 shots. And these cases building up in a climate of an administration in Washington that we cannot feel will objectively investigate. There was a time that we could say if state authorities fail us, we can go to the Justice Department. Even under George Bush, we went to the Justice Department. We, at this point, have to hope that one, we could deal with civil courts, or secondly, that there's a balance of power with the Democrats taking the House in November, and maybe the Judiciary Committee under that can at least put a check and balance on cases that need to be investigated. But we are right now where we have two parents, lovely parents, I've gotten to know them, that really don't have an answer to the question, is it a civil rights violation or not? And we do not know. How do you trust the words of people that say immediately they were—
I don't trust Al Sharpton. And you know why? Because one of the number one issues in this country is weight loss. And he seems to be the only person that achieved that successfully. Okay. Do you see him sharing that secret? No. You don't see him telling anything about that. He keep that to himself. So I don't trust him for that alone. The one thing he really, really good at, the weight loss, getting older, maintaining his health, he won't give that secret. So I don't trust him at all. And I'm not even being funny. He won't talk about that.
was no foul play when you haven't even investigated whether it was foul play? How do you trust people that come back from something that happened and never really give you a straight story of what happened, including you have the keys to the car? So when you have more questions than answers, you have to have people that will drive the answers out, and that's what we do. And that's why I've been involved, and that's why we stay involved. And it gets worse and worse and worse. The parent of one of the boys threatening to sue us for asking a question. Imagine that now. Some of y'all call it, what do you feel about the parents? One of the boys said he's going to sue you and Ben Crump. Sue us for what? For saying what happened? So we've gone back that far. And that is why we're going to stand with these parents, because usually, you know, I come from Brooklyn, New York. I was born and raised there. I don't come from the South. But my mother used to bring me down south to my grandmother in Dothan, Alabama. And Congressman, my grandmother told me, you see that pen over there? I said, yes. She said, that's a pen of hogs and pigs. I said, yes, ma'am. She said, always know something. If you take a brick and you throw it in that pile, the hog that hollers is the hog you hit. There's too much hollering going on in Mississippi that we haven't hit something. I can't figure out which one we hit, but we hit something. Because now they're talking about lawsuits. They're threatening threatening a mother of a child, trying to get her job taken. You wouldn't be hollering if we wasn't hitting something.
But you know, and that's why I think a lot of times, and that's why I'm against the threatening and stuff, because the people that are threatening her job are not necessarily the same people who you may be hunting down for answers in this investigation. That was some random person on the internet. That's not a hog you hit. That's just somebody on the internet doing something nasty and mean to somebody that I am against. I don't think any side should be threatened. But you didn't hit. You would have to show somebody directly tied to the investigation that did it. You see what I'm saying? I don't think the people that are threatening, I don't think there's anyone, as far as those boys are concerned, I don't think it's anybody they know or in their family that's threatening Nolan Wells' family. And I don't think anybody that knows Nolan Wells and their family are threatening those boys' family. You know, when them threats and stuff coming, them be people sitting by and got nothing to do, waiting for something like this to happen so they can pick a side and threaten somebody and be mean. I don't think those are the same people. For that analogy that he gave, you throw a brick, the hog that hollers is the hog you hit. And correct, Prince, saying what happened. No one knows what happened. Exactly. That's why they're threatening to sue. because they're saying you like acting as if you know what happened, and they don't. But I don't think they'll actually sue them. But like I said, if you have a kid and you should use some suggestive language saying that my kid do something, I am going to threaten to sue you. I'm not going to let you just say it without responding. So I get them, but I get the mom in the way too, because I understand, yes, if you're a parent, you're not going to accept the first answer that you get. So, I understand both of them, but I maybe because it's Al Sharpton and Ben Crump, I just think they take it too far.
And we're going to stay on that, and we're going to stay on it all the way. In light of that, before attorney, and I call him the Attorney General of Black America, gives us the legal basis, and then we hear from the parents. Congresswoman who lived herself through dealing with the whole tragedy of her own son. That's how we met. On a plane. She was a flight attendant at the time. And she stopped me on the plane and said, "Grandma, why ain't you dealing with my son's case?" And we started a relationship. She ended up being elected right here in Georgia and reelected. They redrew her lines and she was reelected anyhow. The lines couldn't reduce the favor of the people. Congresswoman Lucy McBath.
Let's see. If that independent autopsy say no wrongdoing, sue them. They might be waiting for something like that. That's probably what they're waiting for. They have to wait they would have to wait till everything is done and T's crossed, I's dotted to be successful with it, I think. Johnny says, being this is Mississippi, and the people involved, I wouldn't put past those officials having someone in the tuck to do dirty work like going after Nolan mom job. It could happen. I just remembered as one of their moms is like a judge. But you know what though? This is the only reason I think about that, right? Is because even that judge had to like step away from work because they were even the judge was threatening in this case. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Could they do it? Yes. But I just believe that a lot of times it's people on the outside, people that don't care about either side, but they just want to do mean things to people. But no, I definitely believe that somebody of power and position, like somebody's mom being a judge, definitely could affect your job and have it taken away. But I don't know if she would have to go a sneaky way of doing it. Being a judge, having connections, I'm not sure the labor laws in Mississippi but I'm pretty sure if you pissed off the wrong person, you would just walk into your job one day and be fired for any old stupid reason. I don't know if they would go through the lengths of what she's saying, where it's this conspiracy to make her lose her job. I just think she would just lose it. Johnny said the judge like an eye for an eye. You treating me, I'm gonna do the same to you. Yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone. First, I want to say thank you to Reverend Al Sharpton, and also thank you to Attorney Crump for being the armor bearers for this family, the Nolan's family. It's a really, really sad occasion that we're here again. I was just saying to my staff on the way in, it's like this brings back so many vivid memories for me and my own family, having lost Jordan to unnecessary gun violence in November 2012, Black Friday, simply because he was Black and playing loud music in his car. And so here we are again today, here for the loss of another Black young man in our community. And we find ourselves asking the same questions. How did it happen? Why did it happen? And this family stands here demanding answers. This family deserves answers. I myself sought the same justice for my son Jordan that they're seeking for theirs, and they deserve answers, and they deserve justice. Justice that should not be denied this family, or should ever be denied to any of our children or our lost loved ones. As a member of the Congressional Black Caucus, I'm the second vice chair of the Congressional Black Caucus. We are demanding a full federal investigation. Kash Patel, we're demanding a full federal investigation as to what has actually happened to Nolan Wells. We want to make sure that every stone is unturned because his life matters. All of our children's and our families' lives matter. And we must fight back. We must stand up, and we must demand accountability for this family's loss. We cannot turn a blind eye to what continues to happen again and again and again. That's the reason why I ran for Congress, to make sure that we continue to put a face on what's happening to our families and our communities every single day. We must say Nolan's name. Amen. Say his name. Lift his name. And as the national Black journalists of this country, you have the ability to be able to lift this story and not let it die. We see over and over again these kinds of tragedies in our communities that continue to happen. And they make it to CNN. They make it to MSN Now. They make it to our local news for maybe 30 days, if that. And then the stories are gone. And the carnage is left with the families and the communities that have lost someone that they love. So I thank the National Black Journalists. Thank you for lifting this family story. Do not let it die. Continue to say his name. Continue to tell his story, because they deserve justice, and it matters. It mattered for me. It mattered for Trayvon. It mattered for Eric Brown. It matters for all of our loved ones that we have lost.
As Attorney Crump comes, let me say, as Congressman McBath has said, the caucus has asked the federal government to look into it. For those of us that are worried about the politicalization of the present administration, that is why January becomes important, that we have a judiciary committee that can also monitor when investigation happens now or does not happen. So it won't end there. They may come out with any announcement they want in the next month or so. We're having a big march August 28th in Washington.
I don't know why Al's still wearing the slick back, man. Oh, I found the lady. She's talking about her son was the Jordan Davis.
A somber milestone. Next week, it'll be 10 years since the murder of Jordan Davis. The 17-year-old was shot and killed at a gas station on Jacksonville's South Side in a dispute over loud music. The case garnered national attention, and his killer went to trial twice. News4Jax reporter Vic Mendy in his honor.
It's gonna be all right. It's gonna be all right.
Ron Davis has a hole in his heart that'll never be filled.
It's been hard most of the time. There's some pearls in everything that you do, you know.
Black Friday 2012, Jordan was out with his friends. They stopped at a gas station and blared rap music. Michael Dunn was leaving his son's wedding, and while his fiance was inside the store, he got into an argument with the boys, firing 10 shots into their red SUV, bullets striking Jordan several times, killing him. Dunn left the scene and later told police he shot in self-defense after seeing a gun, but detectives never found any evidence that Jordan or his friends were armed.
17 months with 2 trials, And it was such a hard thing to do. And so the thing that kept me and Lucy, Jordan's mother, really steadfast was that the community of Jacksonville, Northeast Florida, came out for us and let us know that we were doing the right thing and that Jordan should not have been killed.
The court case got international attention, shining a light on racism, violence, and Florida's stand your ground laws. Ultimately, after a retrial, a jury convicted Michael Dunn of first-degree murder. He was sentenced to life in prison. Ron Davis used his tragedy to make a difference, traveling the world to talk about violence and push for peace. So did Jordan's mother, Lucy McBath, an activist who just won re-election as a congresswoman in Atlanta.
What did that support mean during the darkest hours?
It meant that not only was my heart broken that my son was killed, but it also meant that there was a lot of hearts in this community that felt like, Jordan was there.
And that's what Jason Whitlock was talking about. He was saying like this was a whole production, and that because his title, he put Nolan Wells' mom launches political career at Ben Crump's NABJ production, because at the time when Jordan Davis passed away, when his mom was a flight attendant, so she wasn't into politics, I guess, at the time. And so afterwards, she launched the campaign going against gun violence and stricter gun laws, is what she was going out there in Florida. And I don't believe in taking people's guns away. I'm gonna say that I'm against that, because criminals don't listen to the law, and so criminals gonna still have guns. Only the good people not gonna have their guns. So that don't make no sense to me. But the whole stand your ground law, I think, is a dangerous law when I see how people just are using their weapons on people and claiming stand your ground. I just think it's a dangerous law to me. Let's see. Prince says, wait, why is she speaking? Her son passing is not the same as Nolan's. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We don't even have a clear answer on what has happened to Nolan and why, and stuff like that. So, but you know what, I do understand though, if they do use this as a way to fix the system when it comes to missing persons and how they operate and what is required. I think they are going the right way about this. This is how you get things like, Amber Alert or other alerts that they have. So if they are going to go that route, I would not be mad at them, to have a better system that helps people when their loved ones go missing. So
In dealing with, we must deal with voting rights, so we have the right people in, so we can check and balance.
Oh, I didn't even play the rest of that. My bad.
Davis is celebrating his son's life through acts of kindness. This Saturday, the foundation in his name will host a Feed the City luncheon at the Clear a White Mission, giving meals, haircuts, supplies, and more to the homeless and low-income families.
His legacy is he's doing a lot for a lot of people, not only here in Florida, but around the world.
A gesture of kindness in the wake of a hateful crime. On the South Side, I'm Vic Michelucci, Channel 4, the local station.
My bad. My bad, Johnny. I didn't mean to. It says that I deleted this comment right here. I didn't even mean to do that. That was by mistake. I'm trying to figure out why you can't undo something like that. You should be able to undo that. It says it won't let me undo it. That's weird. Anywho, I didn't want you to think like because I was like, I know I read the comment and I laughed at it because I always think it's weird he got that slick back do. Oh man, I think she's talking about her son to point out the justice system. Yeah, I think she's just doing it to point out the justice system. But the justice system took, they prosecuted that guy, right? People fail to realize, there's a DA that has to look at that, and they take that case up and they go, look, I think he's did something wrong. And they take it to the grand jury and they're letting them know that, hey, I want to lock this person up. You have investigators and people that go and get this guy and stuff. And so I think the guy got life. So I think the justice system handled that guy.
I want to say to people in Mississippi, whatever investigation you come with, once we have a fair and balanced government, your investigation will be investigated. It will not end with what they say in Mississippi. Attorney General of Black America, Benjamin Crump.
But also I think they had her there as a mother. You see what I'm saying? They're pushing the Nolan Wells mother, Nolan Wells mother, Nolan Wells mother. That's another thing too, when people don't think about, is something I think about, how they push this single motherhood bullshit. Black kid, they pushing single motherhood. I didn't even know that boy had a daddy. Why are they only pushing the mother angle? Stand up, strong woman. You don't need your man. It should be mother and father, mother and father, mother and father. See how they play into their own racial stereotypes while pushing that the system is racist, but at the same time, you pushing the racial stereotypes. Because that boy got a big black, like the ace of spades daddy. And you mean to tell me you keep saying Nolan Wells' mother, Nolan Wells' mother? No, you ain't saying shit about his father. And not to speak bad or ill of his father, but if I was a dad, I have a problem with that. You better say my name. My son got a father. I'm here too. But they gonna push the single mother thing because it's a black boy. And hey, this just things I be noticing. Shout out Princess. I can see the mother aspect too. Yeah, and that's why they had the other mother come up there, the congresswoman, because she's a mother who lost her son in a different situation because that guy who he was prosecuted and got life in prison for shooting that boy, trying to claim self-defense and stand your ground. They found no weapon in that car. Those were teenagers. And so it was the whole strong black mother, even though I believe his mom, I think, has some Filipino. She said it when she was on stage, Filipino background. I don't know if she's fully or mixed, but they're pushing the strong black mother standing up to the justice system. That's all this is. And so, but people are act like the way you report the news doesn't matter. But I know how it was reported. And I thought Nolan Wells didn't have a dad. Johnny, exactly. Pops gets no love. But he was in the video I had played before this one, he was sitting up on stage talking. Prince says, me either, where Pops? He might be on the stage then. I know he was on the stage when we that last video I was playing. He was the one sitting right next to her. Yeah. Well, Johnny said, I think that's his. Well, no, when he was on the stage, he told the man that was on the stage, he told the story of how him and the mom went to go get the keys to the car. And he said he pulled his friend Jax to the side. He said, Jax, I'm Nolan's father. Now, where's his car keys at? So no, that's his dad. Prince says proof fathers are looked down upon. Yeah. Princess stepdaddy or not. Well, yeah, it doesn't matter if it's his stepdad, his dad. And I'm saying he's in all the family pictures with him. He keeps saying, my son, my son, my son, my son. In certain when I've seen him speak, he says my son, my son. So it could be biological dad, stepdad. I mean, but he has a dad. You know, these are two parents in his life, active, but they're pushing this single mother thing. It's very subtle. It's subtle. It's kind of like Kamala, right? I didn't even know Kamala was married. If you're not into politics, some of these things you would not know. Kamala didn't know. They did a good job trying to put out there a certain way. And it's a subtle thing. It's you know, that way they can deny and say, well, I didn't say that. I didn't do that. And it's like, you did it. You did it in a subtle way. It's very sneaky the way you did it. See, there you go right there.
Thank you so much, Mentor. Reverend Al, thank you for helping not only lead the effort to get to the truth, but keeping this family in your prayers as you have done so many more families, giving them support.
And see, that's him right here, the dad. But see, the way they'll say certain things, and then when I look back on it, I'm like, oh, okay, I've been seeing him. I just thought he was one of the lawyers. I'm Attorney Ben Crump, along with Attorney Eric Hertz, Attorney Lisa Park, Let me see something.
Attorney Ahmad Smith. We have the honor of representing the family of Nolan Wells. Obviously, you all have come to know his parents, Christine and Elmore Wansley. And this is hard.
See, the dad.
I heard Congresswoman Macbeth, who lost her son George.
See, where is that? Oh, okay. But see, you look at the pictures, mom, dad, right? Up on the stage, mom, dad, he be there, mom, dad, but they always say mom. They just mom, dad, mom, dad, mom, dad. Look, mom, dad, mom, dad, mom, dad, mom, dad, mom, dad. All the pictures, mom, dad, mom, dad, mom, dad. All this, mom, dad, down here, mom, dad. Oh man. Oh, I'll zoom in more. But mom, dad, mom, dad, mom, dad, mom, dad. Yeah. Yeah. Mom, dad, mom, dad. But see, then even when like Ben Crump be talking, right? He'll be like, they're attacking because she want the answers. Any mother want the answers. They don't then I say like the mom and dad want to answer. Sometimes he say the family or something, but it was just weird to me. It's just something subtle. Maybe it's I can't accuse him and say if it's intended or not intended. I just think it's weird. I really do. I think it's weird. Yeah. Prince saying Ben Crump and lawyers like him coach them families pop stay out of this. And yeah, and that could be a tactic because I think a mother gets more sympathy. So I can see that.
More than almost 12 years ago. And it's still raw and emotional when you hear her talk about the loss of a child. I mean, he's not coming back. And that is the story. Everything else is just, hyperbole, is distractions. The story is what happened to Nolan Wells. Somebody knows something. Somebody saw something. I'm thankful to Reverend Al Sharpton and Mr. Tyler Perry and Terrell Owens and Byron Allen putting up these rewards. I understand others have now put up rewards, and that's good because that means we all have the same objective. We want the truth about what happened to Nolan Wells, and it is urgent. It is urgent because each day that goes by, you worry, will we ever get to the truth? And so that's why we want to thank CBC for calling on the federal authorities and anybody else who has resources to help this family get to the truth of what happened to their son. I know I was talking to Christian Clark, and she said, no, let's make sure that all taxpayers' money that goes to support federal resources apply to our children too. I mean, let's say that nobody should say, oh, it doesn't matter that much because it's a black child. No, it matters. All of our children matter. And so we are going to continue every day to say his name, Attorney Hertz, Attorney Park, Attorney Smith, trying to work with the local district attorney to give them what they need to do a thorough, fair, full, impartial investigation. That's what we're asking for. Everything else is just a distraction because Nolan's birthday is next Wednesday, August 19th. It is going to be extremely difficult for his mother, his father, and his family, because this August 19th will be like no other that they've ever had for the last 19 years. I mean, it's a milestone when your child gets to be 18 years old. You try to breathe a little easier, Reverend. Now you say, man, we almost got them there. They at the cusp of being an adult, cusp of manhood. And you heard how Elmore was working so hard, him and Nolan, his football career. I mean, he had a good start, but this was really going to be his year. I mean, so much hope, so much promise. And then July 4th came, and 4th of July will never be the same to Christine and Elmore. And on the 19th, next Wednesday, his family, we're all asking for prayer for Nolan. I know there's going to be a prayer visual in Ocean Springs. I know Reverend Al is going to work to make sure we're all praying all across the nation. But y'all, let's pray. Can we pray together in unity to say, let's get to the truth of what happened to Nolan Wells? Can we do that, America? Can we at least come together in unity on his birthday? Everybody who claimed to ever be a friend of his, can we come together in unity and pray for the truth and try to have love in our hearts for this family, for this brokenhearted mother and father, his sisters and brothers? Can we try to give them grace and give them love and pray for their humanity, for their son who was lost on 4th of July and is never coming back? Is that?
Yeah, it took me a while to realize that he really don't be giving no answers. He just really appeals to emotion. Is what he does. He really don't get no answers. I know. We said Tyler Perry putting up money to solve a possible crime. I know Johnny said if he put $1 million up, they gonna have people with satellite images. They gonna hack into the satellites.
That's so much to ask. Let's have a national day of prayer on August 19th, next Wednesday, for Nolan Wells. And At this time, we hear from his mother and father, then Eric, and us will try to answer your questions.
Hello, everyone. Thank you all for having us, for platforming our son's story. As many of you know, his 19th birthday is next Wednesday.
Damn, they all up on her. Is it me or is they awfully close? Ain't got to be that damn close for her to speak. Is it just me? Crazy. Prince, I would pay money to see Tyler pay money to. Yeah. Oh man.
And it's as the days get.
They is close, man. Close as shit, man. Let that man let it be. Look at the white guy. He all over her damn shoulder. Like he's standing on his tippy toe. Ben Crump all up on. Look, her husband can barely get his freaking hand on her shoulder. He's like wedging, right? They should be able to stand there and show a unified couple and stuff. The hell they so damn close. These people are weird. Okay. Weirdy.
Closer. It's definitely getting harder. That realization is really sinking in. That we don't son physically here anymore.
Ego said they always stand super close to the families. Make sure they don't say the wrong thing or go off script. When you say that, it makes me imagine Ben Crump got his hand or something. You know how when you was little, your mom might grab the back of your arm and threaten to pinch you. Can't nobody see it, but you know it's there. Is what if he got his hand somewhere to pinch and twist, man? Hey, you better say what we talked about. Listen to me, we all gonna see some money at the end of this. Prince said, yeah, they making sure she read that verbatim. And John said, Al, I'm about to push the podium over. So close. Oh man, I watched a little bit of this yesterday. I didn't notice this. I'm like, the hell? Like, how they so damn close? It don't feel like they was that close to that other lady.
And I think a lot of people have forgotten. Only thing we want to know is what happened. That's all.
In. They make it to MSN now.
Hey, she can move her arm. Look, she can move her arm. They ain't that close to her.
And then the stories are gone. And the carnage is left.
Forgotten. Only thing we want to know is what happened. That's all we want to know is what happened to our son. Because many parents out there, you still have your children. You still can hug them. You still can call them. You still can celebrate their life with them. And we do not have that anymore. Our lives have forever changed. This new normal is something I would never wish on anyone, not even my worst enemy. The hurt that we feel daily, the conversations that we have to have, not just with each other, but also with our other children as they are grieving as well. So we ask that everyone, please.
Damn, ain't it enough people up on it? He pulled somebody else up in there. You come up in here too. We need some more body heat. Like, that is weird. That is crazy. Johnny said everybody don't see Crump arm. He got them pinchers locked and loaded. They so close if she wipe her tears on their shoes. I'm like looking at her husband's hand. His hand is like pinched between, Crump and thing. Like, man, back up, man. No Ego says, I've been following Crump for years. He does this with every family he represents. Go check his crooked history. Yeah. My God, man. He is all up
Next
on him.
Wednesday, join us in prayer. As for us as a family, but also for everyone out there, but especially for Nolan and the process that we're going through. And again, we thank you so much.
First of all, I want to say thank you to.
You see that? Look, she tried to shift. She tried to shift so her husband can get on the mic. She can't even move. Look.
So much.
Look, she gonna try to move out the way. She goes nowhere. Look.
First of all, I want to say thank you to everyone who's constantly keeping our son's story in the forefront. You don't know how much we really appreciate that. Nolan brought light to our family. He was the fun in it. And with his birthday coming up, like my wife said,
I say, better not bring anybody else up there. I'm gonna sweat that perm out. Oh man. Prince says, you think it's a group of man circles jerking over a woman in the club? Look, see, Prince gonna say what I be thinking. I was trying not to say that, but I was like, this don't look right. This don't look right. They too close. They too close. Oh my God. And then when she just tried to move so her husband can get on the mic, his dad, she couldn't go nowhere. She was doing this. She was like, girl, you in the same spot. You ain't going nowhere. Is it? No, he goes at it's like a box out drilling. She like, oh my God. John says she looks so frustrated by the closeness. I think she do. I think she's uncomfortable. She won't never say it because she need their help. But I definitely think she's uncomfortable. It's no way you don't feel uncomfortable with that. This is like a black rapper at the BET Awards getting his award. Oh shit. I'm taking a picture of that one. Oh man. I'm taking a picture of both of those. That is hilarious. Oh my God. Look, I thought the box out drill in basketball was the funniest it was gonna get. And then when you come back with the rappers getting nailed. Oh. Oh shit. Oh my God. That's hilarious. This looked like a black rapper at the BET Awards getting his award. That is damn sure what it looked like. And even the father, you know how they let you had the other homie, he want to say something, he leaning over the shoulder, like, you know what I mean? Like
we have to deal with a new normal. Who knows what these years are gonna bring, but we know that these years on August 19th is gonna bring a lot of hurt, some laughter as we think about memories.
No Ego said, yeah, he beat my comment for sure. Oh, nah, Press, you good, man. We needed some laughter. You know what? And this is another thing when I be doing my room and I do true crime, like, and you be watching it. I really want to get more into like the editing and uploading the videos because a lot of news is boring. It really, really is. So somebody like you have to make it fun somehow, some way, because a lot of it's boring. A lot of it's redundant. You're hearing the same information over and over again and stuff. So you really you have no choice but to find the humor or make it fun. Like you have no choice but to do that. Cause but me, I just like looking at stuff like this, but I'll watch it till I fall asleep. You know what I mean? Yep. Prince OMG, yes, gotta have that laugh to break the ice. Definitely, for sure. Definitely. Johnny says laughing is the key of overcoming pain. It definitely is. Facts. Facts.
But as far as our family, a very big piece will no longer be there. We just want the truth. We just want to know what any other parent would want to know. We're asking the questions any parent would ask. And if you feel that something's wrong with that, then that's a problem that you have to deal with. But as far as us and our family, we're just asking for truth, transparency, and to please keep us in your prayers. Next week is going to be a hard week, and the years follow are going to be hard. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Christian Elmore.
No, Al Sharpton did not just tap his hair. No, he didn't.
Thank you very much, Christian Elmore. It never gets easy, Reverend Al. And they're asking, I know Reverend Jamal Bryant is coming to Ocean Springs. Anybody who can come to Ocean Springs to be at the prayer visual with them on a Wednesday evening at 7 p.m., please come. And if you can't come, please have prayer visuals in your city and your communities. We need to find out what happened. Attorney Hurts, Attorney Parks, and Reverend Allen, as we're trying to answer your questions. The family, obviously, the motion, they'll try to answer questions if they can. Any questions? Yes.
My name is Logan John, NBJ.
Yeah, give us where you're calling, where you're.
NABJ News.
Okay.
What do you believe accountability and justice for Nolan Wells should look like?
It's very simple. As we always say,
What was that
if
question?
it was your child, what will accountability and justice look like? If it was.
What do you believe accountability and justice for Nolan Wells should look like?
It's very simple. As we always say, if it was your child, what will accountability and justice look like? Well, that's the same thing they want for their child. Whatever it would be for your child, that's the same thing they want. Whatever
That's what I said. But the thing is, he don't know how to answer that question because I don't think he really knows. That was similar to the question the lady asked him the day before, and I think that's why people get frustrated with him, right? Because he's great at what he does. That's right. But when someone says, "What would the justice look like?" we need to know law. We need to know what is the system doing that we're working towards changing. I couldn't join this movement because I don't know what it's a movement about. I don't know what we're changing. Like, what is the agenda? What was done that was a violation of rights? Because every time you get this question, you just go, what would you want for your family? Like, I don't know what to want or what to expect. Could you please tell us what to want and what to expect? Not tell us what to want like that, but for instance, a lot of times people get taken advantage of is because they don't know what is what they should be asking for. So answer the question by telling us what we should be asking for. I still never got the answer. What happened in the investigation that made you say, they doing this investigation wrong? Or is this all based off of somebody finding somebody in the water and you saying, well, I don't see where it was foul play. I think they drowned. And is that what is all based off of? Because I was keep waiting for more details and more context as to that. Because I think that's important to know for future cases and references. What are we basing everything off? You know, when you look at case law, they point out specifics. The state of, so and so versus the state of such and such found that in this case, the system failed to do this, and that. And because of this case, we changed this, and that. He can't do that, though. He's going to revert back to what he always says. The mom and the father, the parents want answers. What would you want for them? That's all you're gonna do. He's one of them people you ask a question, he asks you a question back, and you know that pisses people off. Nobody likes that. Nobody like when you ask somebody a question and then they ask you a question back. Like, I asked you a question. I'm making sure he ain't got no afro forming back there. You know, it's crazy. He do got an afro forming back there. He pet it. he do. Prince said, "We'll give the mom all the time. You on the other hand." Oh, we'll give the mom all the time. You on the other hand, yeah. They cut Buddy short. He can't cry. He get emotional. They're like, all right, that's enough. Drop of the C says justice for Nolan Wells. No Ego says exactly. They hired a civil rights attorney, but this is clearly not a civil right case. And no Ego, that's what I was thinking. Because I'm thinking, to me, you hire a civil rights attorney. I don't have a problem or issue with that. But what I'm saying is, I would think that he's had enough time to look at how the investigation has been led. If he's a civil rights attorney, he should be pointing out where rights were violated, where things that he sees that, okay, you did this for this family, but you're not doing it. He hasn't pointed out any of that at all. He's done nothing. And that's why people are calling him a race baiter or a race hustler, because where's our information? I think you owe that to people. Not just you owe the family, but if you stand up for, what if something happens to me? I'm looking for him to give the answers. He's supposed to be leading this movement, right? And I look at him for the answers. What if something happened to me or somebody I know? I can't go back and help nobody with nothing that Ben Crump say. He don't say shit. You ask him a question, he asks you a question right back. Whatever music you like. Whatever food you like. Ben Crump, what you want to eat today? I mean, I like to eat. What would you like to eat today? You go out and you go to a restaurant and you eat, and I would like to eat as much as you would like to eat. He would never give you an answer. Prince says he doesn't know yet. He's the big named attorney, just race baiting. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think he knows a damn thing, man. He hasn't pointed out anything, and that is important for context. That would make the story so much. Do you know? Here's my thing. If he really wanted to get people to stand up and fight this, fight the power, don't you think he would name specifics? They did this to the family. That is a violation according to law. They did this and this to the family. That's the racist part of it. He's literally not giving you any information. No one can name one fucking thing Ben Crump has said. All his suggestive language of what he's accusing, the investigation this, the investigation that. What information, what answer has he said about the investigation? Anything? Nothing. He just says, this is Mississippi. We know the history. He can't point out anything that the investigation did. or nothing. He's just dragging it on. That's why I put in the title, Nolan Wells' family and lawyer want answers. Or do they? This man ain't said a damn thing in all this time. And it pisses me off because I'm really into like the true crime shit. And then like when things happen to people and injustices, I'm into it. I want to spread awareness, but it pisses me off. I keep showing up and I keep clicking on videos and I can't even get a fucking answer. I'm like, what exactly did the system of Mississippi do in this case that we need to be fighting against? And he won't name anything specific. He just says, oh, the history. Press says go back through all of Ben Crump Pokemon appearances. He never lays out anything. And I agree with that, Prince. And that's why I be like pointing out. I'm realizing I'm like, yo, this dude don't be saying nothing. He like one of them people, man, that's good at like talking to people, preaching, and then you'll be like, it takes a minute sometimes, but you'll wake up one day and you're like, man, I just realized so and so don't never say a damn thing. You don't be saying nothing. Let's see. Drop of the C says, I think going to the grand jury is Crump strategy to get justice for Nolan in Mississippi. Who present the DA presents things to the grand jury, right? They go there to see if there's enough evidence for charges. I don't think do Crump. Let me see. Trying to see. Do he how does that work? Um Let's see. It says Jackson County District Attorney Angel Myers is responsible for presenting the Nolan Wells case to the grand jury. As the local prosecutor, it is her office's job to review all evidence gathered by the Jackson County Sheriff's Department and present it to a localized Mississippi grand jury. Why the case is going to a grand jury, standard procedure. DA has publicly stated that bringing the case to a grand jury is a routine procedure in Jackson County. Her office presents every single death in the county that does not stem from natural causes or non-criminal car accident. The grand jury will review the official evidence to legally decide whether Nolan Wells' death involved a crime. The DA has emphasized that convening a grand jury does not mean a crime is suspected or that anyone has been formally accused. So I don't know. Some of this could be just impatience on the family's part that these things would have kind of worked themselves out. But if you stay in Mississippi and you think it's a racist place, you'll just jump out the window, get Ben Crump. And many of these things that you think Ben Crump is making the state do, the state could have very well just been doing this on their own and all this. You see what I'm saying? So, yeah. Did Ben Crump do it, or was this always going to happen? He's just making you think he got it happening. So the state is doing things that Ben Crump at home with the family, like, yeah, I told them that they're gonna have to present it to a grand jury. Wouldn't you, if this was your kid, wouldn't you not want your kid's case presented to the grand jury? So that's all we want. We've always said that we want transparency. And we know the history of Mississippi. Megadeth Evers, one of my favorite people. Um, you know, so No Ego said, "Oh, not a bad Crump impersonation." I appreciate it. I'm trying to. I like the way Crump talk. I ain't gonna lie, man. But you know, I think people like him are needed on all sides. I made a video last week. I was talking about that. I think there's nothing wrong with checking balances. There's nothing wrong with having that person that casts doubt. I think, but we have to be careful the way we do it. But it is needed to have a person that casts doubt and go, "Hey, wait a minute, I don't know. Can we have a second look at this?" There's nothing wrong with that. Johnny says, I think it's civil due to it being in the Mississippi. Just my opinion. Yeah. You think it might be a civil suit? I don't know. It might be. What if more details come out where somebody older bought alcohol, parents not there, letting these kids drive their boat? This could have caused Nolan's death because the burden of proof for civil is lower. So I don't know. Details might come out where they'll have a good civil case. For sure. Prince said he don't believe that crap he's saying himself. Yeah. Drop of the C says, I wouldn't underestimate Crump just yet. I wouldn't underestimate him either. Like, I ain't getting it twisted now. He been out here for a minute. Him and Al Sharpton, man. There's no way they survived in all these years, and the people they done went up against, the government that they done went up against, they know a thing or two. So yeah, I just think the way he answered questions with a question is ridiculous to me. It's like I don't know if he believes in what he says he's fighting for, because he should offer some answers about something.
Investigation you would do for your child, that's the same investigation.
Told you. Oh my God. That's the same investigation I want for mine. It's not just, oh my bad. Let me get stop doing that voice. It's not just so much civil against the kids, more on the system, because fresh out the gate, they said no foul play. Yeah, I think they would have a hard time suing them for that because they didn't close the case. And it's not like they gave him a hard, like people have to realize he just died. So it's not like the family been fighting for 2-3 years trying to figure something out. No, the family literally, he just died. They come and look. Initially, it's, hey, I don't, we don't see where it's foul play. They are allowed to get it wrong. The family says, well, hey, we want to get our own autopsy. They didn't fight them. They said, okay, cool. You can have it. So I don't know what civilly they would have against the system, the investigation. It doesn't look like they, unless they just not telling us, I don't see what they did was wrong. This is not one of those cases that has drug out, like where somebody saying I've seen cases like that where it takes like 6-7 years for investigation to take a case serious. Because what day did Nolan die? Like the exact day. Let me see. Okay, so it's 4th of July. So it's 4th of July weekend. And we're only in August. So July 4th weekend, 2 days later. So from the 4th, so it's July 4th weekend, I assume just that weekend. I know I did fireworks. 2 days later, so would have found the body on the 6th. We only in August. That's not a drug out investigation or a drug out where think about it. It sometimes it takes longer than that to find a body. So they went and found him. I don't know. They would have to prove where they didn't find him. If they would have found him sooner, he would still be alive. Like it would be a lot of things they have to prove with that. To be honest with you, that's why I'm trying to figure out what exactly did the investigators do that has the mother and Crump saying what they're saying. I'm looking for something specific because I'm looking at a case that is very new and it has gotten a lot of motion. And you got people out here with missing people that these investigators still are not looking for. You got cases out here that people need it to be moved. You got cases where the case done went cold and stuff like that. It's only been a month. They only No Ego says the only way there won't be a civil case is unless the toxicology test comes back and Nolan had drugs in his system. Excuse me. Did that did that all did that come back yet? Let me see. A lot of this stuff too take a while to get back too. Yes, they haven't even gotten that back. Yeah, they had a toxicology report online, but it was actually a fake and stuff. So even like this, all this has just happened to the point where there's not even been enough time to get those reports back. Let's see. MSSC drop of the C says in Mississippi, a grand jury determines whether sufficient evidence exists to indict someone. If so, it returns a true bill formally charging the person with the felony. Yeah, but I'm thinking drop of the C. I don't even think they have nobody to give that to currently. And I think that they would have I don't know. I think they would have took it to a grand jury anyway. It seems like that's kind of standard. Um and I know they can say like even with them saying like with the whole thing and is racist. I'm sorry, this is a high profile case. I don't care if you black or white. Any prosecutor would love to lock somebody up for this. Love. So I just don't think I don't see nobody I don't see them not wanting the prosecutor trying to cover this up. Yeah. How long I been doing it on there? All right, y'all. We coming up on 3 hours. I'm about to jump off. Give me something to eat. I gotta record some more videos. I really got to. And I know I want to make a video showing this whole Saucy Santana thing. That dude done lost his damn mind out here in the streets. Definitely got to talk about that. I appreciate y'all. I will be back. I'm trying not to overdo the whole Nolan Wells thing. I know some people doing it every day because I'm pretty sure it's profitable to talk about it and pretend like they got answers and it's the constant Nolan Wells update and no answer. It's like really, really irritating. Like really, really irritating that you got people doing that. But I did want to come on here and watch the video with the mother and her speaking. Alrighty. Boom, 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 boom. All right, so want to say appreciate y'all. Shout out to the Drop of the Sea, No Ego. Shout out to Johnny. Shout out to my homie, my brother Prince of Petty himself. Shout out to Johnny. I said Johnny and some other people up in here earlier. Yeah, I said shout out to Johnny. Who else was I talking to? They might have left. Shout out to Chris Angel. And there was I think it was 2 angels up in here. Shout out to them too. Shout out to 623. Shout out to Madam. Shout out to Mel. Mel was here. Yep. Shout out to Designs by Jules. Yep. I know oh, shout out to Nicholas was in here too. No Ego was in here. I think since early in the beginning. You and Mel, appreciate y'all. Shout out to Adorable as well. That was here. And shout out to Tony. Shout out to Season Troll. Shout out to Jared. Shout out to Randy. Let's see, Tony. I think there's 2 different trolls that came through in the chat. Shout out to Christian. Yep. I think I got everybody. Man, I appreciate y'all, man. Appreciate you, Johnny. Appreciate you, Prince, man. For real, man. Appreciate y'all. Yeah, I'm about to go eat. And I gotta find a good debate to come and watch again, man. I ain't really been seeing no good ones that I like. I'll see though. I don't know. Anywho, man, I will holler at you later. If you're watching this video on the replay and you were not in the live, don't forget to thumbs up, subscribe, and hit that notification bell.
Welcome to Risky Behavior ENT.
Risky behavior.